Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asad Yaqub and I am from Lahore, Pakistan, and I welcome you to my IELTS video. This is about IELTS writing task 1 academic, and we've got processes and maps. Two things. We have like bar charts, pie charts, flow charts, diagrams and all that stuff, but we also have processes and maps. So today we are going to learn, if there is a map, how to write a report on that very thing. That's what we are going to see. Please follow your books. It's written, if you have a describing a process task in the exam, they will give you a process and you have to describe that process. Now if you studied chemistry in matric, there used to be a process about making sugar, right? How sugar is made, and some other processes which are mentioned in the diagram. So it's going to be something like that, right? So if you have a describing a process task in the exam, you will be given a diagram with a series of pictures. A diagram with a series of pictures like first one, second process, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on. The diagram shows the stages of how something is made or how something works. Either how something is made or how something works. It can be a piece of machinery. How does it work? It can be the brick making process. How do they make the bricks? You know bricks? We use them for building, for construction. Exactly. So typical diagrams are, now you need to underline these 3 points. Typical diagrams are how chocolate is produced. For example, now they will tell you how chocolate is produced. First process, second process, third, and then it is ready. Or how coffee is grown and produced. How coffee is grown or how coffee is actually produced. And the life cycle of an animal or insect. So they can be like, you know, the butterfly, the life cycle of butterfly in biology, that is something like a process. Is this clear? So they can be 3 things or out of that. Now try writing an answer for the task 1 question below. You will need to. These are the things you will have to do to write a good answer. The first one, write an introduction which describes the process in your own words and mentions how many stages there are. For example, the diagram shows the brick making process or different stages, how coffee is made, how chocolate is made, and all that stuff. So in the first paragraph you will write an introduction which describes the process in your own words and mentions how many stages are there. Next, write 2 paragraphs in the main body, dividing the process into 2 clear parts. You got to divide the process into 2 parts. Part 1, 1 paragraph, and part 2, 2nd paragraph. Clear? In the first paragraph you will clearly mention what is the diagram about. The diagram shows or diagram is about. In the second paragraph, half process. In the third paragraph, the second half of the process. Use mostly present simple and present simple passive. Very important thing. For diagram, you got to use present simple. Now for example, whenever you're going to describe a picture, you look at the picture and say, in this picture the man is smiling, or the man smiles in the picture, daughter helps her father, something like that. So you got to use present simple tense for the diagram. After that, and you got to use passive voice. For example, step 1. After that, bricks are shifted to the second phase, right? So bricks are shifted is actually the passive voice. In your report writing, do not use we do this. Instead of saying we do this, you will say it is done, it is transferred, it is changed. Passive voice. Or you can use present simple tense. So active voice of present simple and passive voice. And if you don't know that, you should practice. Active voice of present simple and passive voice of present simple. Next, use a range of linking words to join the stages together. Now you need to use a range of linking words like after that, then, right, in the second stage, right after this. Okay, so these are the linking words. So you got to link all the things, whatever you say. And write a minimum of 150 words. 150 words minimum. You can write up to 200 words. There's no problem. But don't write a very lengthy report. Not more than that. Now let's take a look. There is a diagram down there. Discuss these questions with a partner. Do you like tea? All of you like tea? Yeah? Do you like tea? No, you don't like tea? Okay. You don't like tea? Sorry? Very much you like tea. Okay, right. So do you make your tea in the same way as in stage 11 to 18? Now look at stage 11 to 18. They've got kettle, then they boil water in kettle, and then they add tea bag and pour hot water and leave for 2 minutes, and then add milk and add sugar and drink and enjoy. See that? So this is how the diagram will be given, and you got to talk about different procedures of that very diagram. All clear? Okay. Now please turn to page number 107. I'm going to tell you how to write a complete report on another thing. We've got another picture. Page number 107. Are you there? Good. There's a picture and we'll learn how to describe on that. Let's look at the picture, please. The picture below shows the pictures below show how tomato ketchup is made. You eat tomato ketchup? So this is actually how tomato ketchup should be made, but over here we make it with chemicals. No tomatoes in tomato ketchup. Okay? Yes. Once somebody just said that there is a juice factory near their house, right? A big juice factory, and every day cartons of juice they are going, right? But they never saw any fruit coming in. Now you can understand how they make juice, apple juice and other juices and all that, but they've never seen any type of fruit coming inside the factory, but juice is going outside. So the chemicals they use. Anyways, we've got this one. Now we've got the picture below shows how tomato ketchup is made. Let's take a look at the picture. Please see, there is process number 1. Pick tomatoes and put in basket. Very simple. Now you should not give your opinion. You should not say that a girl picks the tomatoes and then she puts them into the basket and she smiles while doing this. She enjoys her work very much. Not like that. Don't give any opinion. You got to just say tomatoes are picked by hand. Tomatoes are picked by hand. Now this is what passive voice, right? Tomatoes are picked by hand. Now what is the second stage? Sort good and bad tomatoes. Like, you know, good eggs and bad eggs. So good tomatoes and bad tomatoes. So bad tomatoes they can keep for politicians or other people like that. They throw the bad tomatoes at those people. Then after that it is sent to the factory. Step 3 is, now see I said it is sent, or tomatoes are sent to the factory. This is passive voice. Okay. Now what is the next one? Remove. Step 4 is called remove. There they remove the skin and the stalk and the seeds. Seeds are separated, skin is removed, and the remaining part is called stalk. They keep the stalk. Clear? And then they put this stalk, this tomato, into a container. Exactly, it goes into a container. Now after number 5 you got to come down. There is step number 6. Step number 6, they crush it in the container. They crush all the tomatoes. By the way, did you ever try to make tomato ketchup at home, ladies? Yeah, okay, it can be made. There is a thing, the tomatoes smell very bad after boiling them, but otherwise it's okay. Next, adding sugar, vinegar, salt. Now what do they do after crushing it, right? They add sugar, vinegar and salt, and there is another container. Then the next step is boiling. Now this liquid, this mixture of sugar, vinegar and salt is boiled. Is boiled is passive voice, right? Instead of saying they boil this mixture, you can say this mixture is boiled. And then they leave it for 2 hours, right? After that, step number 10, they put them into bottles. So this liquid, this tomato ketchup is put into bottles. Then step 11, labeling. They label. Now whatever the company is, tomato ketchup company, they label it, and then there's the quality control. They check it whether it is good or bad or whatever. And after that, step 13, they put it into the beautiful cartons, right? And after putting them into the cartons, the next is supermarket. A delivery van comes, delivery van takes it and brings it to the supermarket, or they are transported. Now again you will use passive voice. The tomato ketchup cartons are transported to supermarket, and at the end people like you enjoy with hamburger and fries, and children enjoy ketchup and all that. So this is the whole thing. You've noticed it all, and let me tell you, diagrams, sometimes the process diagrams are very simple, sometimes they are very complicated. They will tell you about the seabed. Seabed is the surface of the sea, and below that there are certain layers, layer of sand, layer of some gases, layer of this thing. Then you'll say, oh, how I'm going to explain that. Sometimes it's very, very confusing. This is very simple one, by the way, right? So anyways, let's see. Now please follow me. We are going to read the model answer. It's on the top of the page. These pictures illustrate how. Now, in order to write your report on a picture, a process picture, you got to use these pictures illustrate. The word illustrate is ideal for picture. These pictures illustrate how tea is produced. Tea grows in India and China. Page 103, got it? So step 1 is tea is grown in India. Now you can use tea is grown. Tea is grown is passive voice. Tea grows is active voice. Then sow tea seeds. The farmer or the people, they sow tea seeds. Then sunshine, plants grow. The plant gets the sunshine, it grows. Then pick and put in basket. They pick the tea leaves and put it into the basket. Have you seen in Kenya and somewhere else, there are the ladies, they are picking the tea and putting into the basket. And then they dry tea leaves. They put it in the sun and they dry tea leaves and then pack into boxes. Okay, after that, step number 7, load onto a lorry. Lorry is basically a truck that takes all the goods and all that. Deliver tea boxes. Again, supermarket, customers buy. Then customers take the tea home. You buy Lipton, what else do we have? Tapal, Supreme, these type of tea. So you take it home and then you pour some water in the kettle, boil water, add tea bag, pour hot water into the cup, leave for 2 minutes, add milk, add sugar according to your taste, and drink and enjoy. Okay, so let's see. Now we've got a complete report. Please follow me. These pictures illustrate how tea is produced. How tea is produced is passive voice. And how a cup of tea is made. So there are 2 parts. Part 1, how tea is produced, and part 2, how tea is made. There are 18 stages in the diagram, from sowing the tea seeds in India and China to enjoying a cup of tea at home. The whole process, step 1 to step 18, means the first step to the last step. First paragraph clear? Yes, that's right. Let's go on. The first step is that the tea seeds are sown and then the sun shines, present tense. The sun shines, which causes the seeds to grow into plants. And once the plants have grown sufficiently, the leaves are taken, the leaves are then picked by the farmer and put into baskets. Put into baskets is also passive voice. After the picking stage, the tea leaves are spread out in the sun to be dried. You saw that as well. And focus on the word like after, then, and all that. The tea leaves are packed into boxes and then they are loaded onto lorries, which take the boxes of tea to supermarket. Now the next paragraph. In order to make a cup of tea, first of all you buy a box of tea and take it home. Right? Simple. Next you will find the kettle with water and put it on the stove to boil. It's like a child play, huh? Something very simple and easy. Meanwhile, the words like first, second, then, meanwhile, you put a tea bag in a cup, and once the kettle has boiled the water is poured into the cup. Having been left in the cup for 2 minutes. They wrote leave the cup for 2 minutes. So having been left in the cup for 2 minutes, the tea bag is then removed and the tea is now ready to drink. At this point, milk and sugar can be added. It's up to you. Some people like tea with milk, some like without milk. So at this point, the words like at this point, in the meanwhile, after this, they are important. The final step is that you drink a nice cup of hot tea and enjoy as well, right? So this is how you write a report on a diagram. So I hope you would have understood how to write a report whenever there is any process. Remember one thing, in the first paragraph you will talk about the first and the last process, and then you got to describe all the procedure and divide it into two parts, and these two parts will be described in two separate paragraphs, right? So you can practice writing on some other diagrams, on some other processes as well, because practice is going to help you towards perfection. If you like this video, hit on the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel. And I also teach IELTS online. If you want to join any of my online classes, my WhatsApp number is given here. You can contact me for that. Asad Yaqub wishes you all the best from Lahore, Pakistan. Take care. Allah Hafiz.